Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Really happy to have you here for the 9th of November. Things are going to be very interesting today. We got some comic bookish news, I guess. But, it is what it is, being that nothing in the world is being made or put out that isn't either political or on hold. Hi, Booster.
Hi, it's me. It's Booster. How you doing? How you
I'm
doing?
I'm doing great, dude. You know what I'm doing right now? I'm going over to the
What are
main
you doing right
page.
now?
I'm clicking on our live stream, and then I'm going to. Oh, here I am. I'm going to hit the like button, and then I'm going to share. How about you?
Okay, I'm gonna hit dislike,
Oh,
and
you
then I'm gonna
bastard!
share. Yeah.
Fine, fine.
Fuck this
Wait till
shit.
you see what I get you for Christmas.
Oh my god.
But I do hope you guys do hit the share button for us and we get some people in here and have some fun together. But yeah, Booster, it's nice and sunny and shiny down there. I'm assuming I got a beautiful day. You must, you're only a few thousand miles away. You must have had the same weather.
Oh, it is now, but it was absolutely pissing it yesterday.
It was. Yeah, that's
Pissing down.
true. Yeah.
Almost flooding the damn place.
Oh, did it? Damn, that's not good.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we had some pretty foul weather here for the past few days, but it is gorgeous this morning though. But
It's a lovely day to be indoors and talk about comics. Yeah.
I think so, dude. I absolutely do. Because you and I are kind of in the sun. These guys are all stuck, in the middle of the night with a moon overshadow. Well, that's kind of cool, dude, though. But anyway, let's go over and say hello to our friends we have in here today. Hello, Mr. Eric Hawkins, the most Hawkiny of all Erics. Hi.
Well, hello there. I want to point out that when I'm not wearing my artist hat, I'm very professional during your intros and outros.
You are, sir. You are.
Yeah.
But you're a bastard on D&Q. Let's
Yes.
be honest.
hmm
Okay.
hmm
But it's okay. It's become a thing. Matter of fact, I was thinking about changing the intro to make it much softer and kind of hollow with the music, so we could very clearly hear all your bullshit. But yeah. Well, I'm contemplating it. So, how was your
That
day
worked.
today, sir?
That was great. Still working from home except for one day a week. But the weather's been great here in the Midwest for the past weekend, like the 70s.
Yep. Wow, that's nice, dude. That's nice to
It's
hear.
true.
So, what is it that you do that you can work from home? Curiously.
Accounts receivables.
Oh yeah, no, you could do that from home. See, I'm a teacher. I can't really do that. I suppose I could use the internets. But
You can go on
As
Zoom.
well.
You can be one of those guys.
yeah, but the thing is that here in Japan, we didn't lock anything down. We were like, hey,
Mhm.
be responsible. Go about your day. And it worked out fine. Did you know that we have some of the lowest rates on the planet, and we're also considered to be the first country that has herd immunity? Did you know that?
Did not know that.
What?
Yeah. Old Japanese got it right somehow. Wonder how there. I don't know. It's a
Yeah.
mystery. It's a mystery. But
Being little
yes,
rascals.
yeah, little rascals. But I
Yeah.
literally missed 2 weeks of work. 2 weeks.
Mm.
We shut down for 2 weeks. It was like, okay, everybody go home. Don't do another 2 weeks.
I haven't been in the office full time since March.
Wow, dude. Yeah, it was back like in March when we did that. But
Yeah.
it seemed to work because we haven't had any cases. We've had nothing anywhere near where I am. But yeah, life has been pretty normal, really. The movie theater's been open. We just don't have anything really to watch. Um, yeah, things are pretty normal here. I mean, everyone's wearing a mask, but I mean, shit, 20% of the population had a mask on all the time anyway. So, what's
They're all ninjas.
they are ninjas. That is fair. That is fair. But interesting, working from home. I'm kind of curious, Thunder. You were talking about that a little bit because your wife is actually working in a hospital, so her responsibilities are a little more serious, right? And which affected your job, though. So how are things going with you?
Fine. She's not working there anymore. She got a new job.
Oh,
She just
nice.
started at the beginning of this month, just last week.
Sweet.
Um,
Congrats.
a much better paying job with seemingly literally no downside compared to the other one. So that's good. Um, but yeah, fine. I just been doing stuff from here and stuff like that. What I could, but
Right.
I've been technically officially on leave since March 20th.
Wow. But you were able to get your work back to your work pretty easily, though.
Yeah, yeah, it's no problem.
Yeah. And Dave says they did cancel one Grand Sumo tournament, and the following had no audience. Yeah, they did. But things are pretty much back to normal now. Like I said, back in March, we did kind of lock down a little bit for a couple of weeks, and that sumo tournament fell, and then after that, they were kind of being a little short on filling audiences completely, and then they kind of just gave up on that. You know, but 2 weeks, the whole country literally shut down for 2 weeks, and it seemed to do the trick. I don't know. But glad to hear you're going to be able to get back to work there, and that sounds good. But I don't know though. Here's the problem, because you have a potential president might be coming in that's saying that we're locking it all down.
Yeah.
So does he even have the power to do that? I'm not sure.
Well, that's what we're gonna find out here real
Mm.
quick. Like I was saying last night, we're gonna get to decide, or the courts are gonna get to decide if we are a republic still, or if we're just a technocracy.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Anyway, let's get into our comic stuff today. Glad everyone's doing well. We do have Todd Maroney. Haven't seen in a while. Glad to see his project there. The Florida Man's had done so well. Thank you very much for that, and I'm glad. Congratulations on your success. We got Jimmy Ortiz is one of my favorite people, but he's being mean to me, Booster.
Is he bullying
He
you
is
even?
bullying me. He's like my only
Oh my
boxing
goodness.
friend I have.
Oh
He's
my
being
god.
being mean. Oh well.
Should beat him up.
But that's okay. I still love you, Jimmy. Still love you.
Beat you take him.
Yeah. But the question I have today, I'm going to
Punk
start out
that
with
little bitch.
little. Yeah. But he
I
probably
apologize, but
knock
I'm
you
just
out
not
in like
cool.
2 seconds, dude. You better watch it. Uh,
Fuck you, bro.
but no, seriously.
IRL.
The first question I do have for today, before I get into news, is what are you guys reading right now? Now I know Thunder's answer, but I'll let him be rude to the entire comic world. Go ahead.
Nothing. There's nothing worth reading.
There you go. Fair enough. Mr. Hawkins?
Well, I'll tell you what, there's plenty worth reading out in crowdfunded comics. Just go out there and check them out. But as far as the main the industry, not much. I don't collect as much as I used to. I pick up a book here and there, but I did get Three Jokers. I did really enjoy that. And I've been reading the Snake Eyes Dead game. The art's not that great, but the story's actually pretty good.
Well, there you go. Some modern comics being read. Shocking. Booster?
There's only two.
I know, but some.
Well, let me just click the old fingers here then. Your boy Booster here is reading James Tynion's Batman run, the Detective Comics run by Peter J. Tomasi. I'm reading Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil, Simon Spurrier's Hellblazer. I'm reading the new Boy series, Dear Becky, and the new Umbrella Academy series.
Wow,
So,
dude.
yeah, and I'm currently reading the old Batman stuff. At the moment, I'm going through Batman Murderer.
Oh,
And that's
nice.
been pretty cool.
Oh,
I do
very
like,
good.
I really do like that era of Batman comics around the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, no, this is the Iron Age. This is pretty cool stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
did start reading Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run, but it was boring and I dropped it. I stopped
Oh,
reading it.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
I
but
think it's fucking excellent.
well, yeah, it is what it is. But I was reading actually. I'm not caught up on it, but I was reading some of this stuff. Well, one of the ones you mentioned. Name the things you were reading again?
Batman, Detective,
No,
Hellblazer,
Hellblazer. Yeah,
Daredevil,
the Hellblazer one.
Hellblazer.
I was reading the new Hellblazer a little bit. I've always liked Constantine though.
Hmm.
I've always
I
enjoyed it.
like that Hellblazer, but there's a new bloody Hellblazer, and it's by Tom Taylor. I don't want to read that. One, it's by an Aussie.
Uh-huh.
Bloody Aussie writing an Englishman. Yeah. And two, Tom Taylor is just such a dweeb of a man.
Yeah, and fair enough, fair enough. But I will check out Constantine when it comes up though. But Lone Star Viper says I'm reading She Return of the Warrior. Man, Billy Tucci's badass. You should be reading that. He's a really cool guy too. I'm glad he had so much success with that return campaign. It's really nice. But me personally, what I've really been reading a lot of recently is nostalgic things, kind of like what Eric mentioned. I am reading The Adventures of Anthony Rogers. and the old stuff, right? Buck Rogers, of course. And it made me really contemplate and think about it. And we kind of just touched on an article a month ago, and we didn't really get into it because I wasn't prepared. I just kind of threw the article up for a conversation. But I did want to start today talk about it a little bit more, if I might. So let me go here and share my screen so the guys can see what I'm doing, and then we'll get over to it. Alrighty, there we go. It looks all good. And let me do this. Oh, perfect. So you guys can just white box me and you can see what I'm showing. But yeah, go ahead, Booster. Read it off,
Smooth
man.
transition, Chester. Goodness me.
I know.
Legendary looking to reboot Buck Rogers for the 21st century.
All right. Now,
Oh,
this battle's
I
been
don't
going
like
on.
those words.
At
Well,
all.
well, maybe. We have to be open-minded because we have zero information. They have been in a battle basically to get the rights that Legendary has to get the rights to this, and they've been fighting against a few other people too. It's not. There's been several people showing interest in Buck Rogers, but it looks like Legendary's going to win it, and they're going to start production sometime in the future. So we don't know the plot. We don't know anything. Although there's a couple questions I do want to ask with it, but let me kind of give a rundown on it because it got me thinking about it. Because probably when I saw this last month is probably when I went back and started reading old Buck Rogers stuff again, and it just brought back a lot of nostalgic memories for me because uh, when I was a little kid. My first comic was like Daredevil in 1975 or 76 or something like that. But my
Nice.
well, I know I'm older than you are. It's okay, Booster. But
No, nice, because that's a good time for Daredevil.
it was a good time for Daredevil, yeah. But my grandma used to take me down to a local library, and it was one of the. I mean, I'm from New England, and any of you New Englanders understand exactly what I say. Mean when I say this. We have a lot of old stuff. We kind of like our old stuff. I know comparatively to Europe and other places of the world, it's not old at all. I get it, but for New Englanders, appreciate that. And there was a really old library. It had a bunch of old stuff in it, and one of the things they had was a bunch of comic books from like back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, and they had 60 stuff too. And that was all kind of stuff. And my grandmother was some things that she wouldn't let me read. But now that I'm older, I understand why. But one of the things she did let me read was Buck Rogers, and I would. They didn't have a lot of them, but they did have some Buck Rogers, and I'd bring it home and I'd read it, and I really loved Buck Rogers. I really got into it, and I'm not sure, but if my memory is correct, I think this might have been one of the ones I read. I think this was from the 40s, I believe. I remember this cover is what I'm saying. But I really enjoyed Buck Rogers, and then of course a year or two later, maybe 3 years later, they had a TV show come out, Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. And I know these days people like to knock on that show, but as a little kid, as a 9-year-old, 8-year-old kid, or 10 maybe when it came out. I absolutely adored Buck Rogers, man. I loved it. It was so perfect for my age group. And Eric's the only one in here that can maybe relate to that. Eric, how did you feel when the Buck Rogers came on the TV?
I loved it. I couldn't wait for it to come on every week.
Yeah, yeah, it was perfect for our age group, right?
Yeah,
And
it
that's
was great.
yeah, and that's why it failed. It was because the older people were like, "What's this nonsense?" It was perfect for us. It should have been a Saturday morning show.
Did it go 3 seasons? I think
Two, just two.
two. The
Yeah.
first one was really good. The second one was
Yeah, but it also introduced Hawkman in it though, and he was pretty cool.
what was the best thing about the second season.
Yeah, yeah. But it's kind of like when we were watching Space 1999, and then we got what was her name, Mira? What was her
Yeah.
name? The lady who could transform
Mara,
into
wasn't
stuff. Mara, yeah, I think it was like second or third season of that, right? But anyway, I loved it. I just like Eric. Every week I was excited to see it coming on, and of course they did come up with a more modern take from Dynamite here in the recent years, which I haven't checked out. I got to go read it, but see if it's any good. There were some mixed reviews, but a lot of this stuff from the 70s and 80s has been rebooted, of course. But me personally, I'm just I know I'm wrong, Thundero, and I know you got to yell at me about it, but I am excited about a new Buck Rogers, man. And the question
You're
I,
ex- Are you excited to watch Buck Rogers become Cuck Rogers right in front of your face? Because that's what's going to happen.
it's legendary though, and they haven't
So with
proven.
Star Wars. So was Luke
if they find
Skywalker.
someone as hot as Aaron Gray, I don't care.
Fair.
So was Luke Skywalker. Buck Rogers is big, but he wasn't Luke Skywalker, and they did
Oh
it to him.
no, this is very true. Yeah, of course you're right on that. But the question I want to ask, Wilma, yes, Elrodimus, absolutely Wilma. Here's the question I want to ask: if you had a choice, who would be the new Buck Rogers?
Oh, that's hard.
That is a good question. Now, if I'm making it, I'm trying to actually make a good
Alright,
film.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
But Booster, yeah, get
Yeah.
Booster in there.
You
Get him
only
in
got one
shape. Get him in
choice.
there.
No,
Dude, it's gonna take
body
years
shaming,
to
I'm
get
not
that
gonna
boy.
do
Boy.
Oh,
in
you're
shape.
getting body shaped. It's happening right to your face.
And old
You're not
Eric
allowed-
here is
you're
going to
not allowed body
manscape your
shaming.
ass
Right
too.
in the prison.
Particularly your
Right
rectum.
in the prison.
Be
No,
careful.
not allowed to
We have to make sure we groom his hobbit feet. We gotta.
Yes.
You got the perfect actor.
You
I think
touch
Hugh Jackman.
a single hair on my foot knuckles, and I will kick your face.
Can I braid them for you?
Okay. Let's get serious
will
here for a
kick them
minute. What do you think, Thundera? Who do you think would be a good Buck Rogers?
That's tough. That's a tough cast because he's got to be, charismatic. There's a damn drought of that going on in Hollywood lately. I don't know. Honestly, I'm trying to think of anybody who I would trust to, if they're going to make this movie and give it the proper respect it deserves with that character. That's hard. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Not today. Not of all the people out there today. I mean, yeah, you could throw a big name in there, but I don't know if I want them to throw a big name in there because then it's more about them than it is Buck Rogers. You know what I mean?
Depends on the big name.
True. If it was a few years ago, I think you could get away with a younger Carl Urban. I think he would have done great. He was great as Dredd, and he's great as Billy. They just keep giving him crap to work with. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with him. I think would probably be my best one if he was a little younger. I can't think of anybody, honestly.
Well, Carl Urban is there trying to get he's trying himself as well to get Mega City 1 going. And I hope he continues on that. But the thing about Buck Rogers is he doesn't need to be a young guy. It's not necessary
Yeah,
at
you
all.
could have him be older.
Yeah.
That'd be fine. Yeah.
Well, what do you think, Eric? Who would you choose? I know who comes to my mind.
Carl Urban's a good choice, but honestly, I really like Hugh Jackman. I think I could see him do that.
Yeah, Hugh might be good for that. He might be interested in doing something like that now that he's kind of down and had some time off. Hugh Jackman,
Yeah.
interesting. So Carl Urban, Hugh Jackman, Booster. If you say Ezra Miller, I swear to God.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That could be interesting. Ryan is a very good actor. I think he's an underrated actor, in fact.
He is, but I don't know if his ego would let him do TV though.
I said Ryan Gosling by default, so
Well, no, Ryan Gosling is not a bad choice really because he could pull it off.
Mm-mm.
He could pull it off.
Yeah, he'd do it. He'd get it.
I want him to be Booster Gold. So.
Oh God, that's fair enough. Yeah. Bruce Willis as older Buck. I don't know about that Lady Celtic Moon, but I don't know. But of course, Bruce could pull it off. We know he could.
Buck Rogers returns.
Yeah, right.
See, that's the problem, right? In Hollywood, they've run out of charismatic, masculine stars that are in their, that are younger.
You guys
right?
are all.
We can't have some 60-year-old playing Buck. I mean, I guess we could, but it just doesn't excite me as much as if they had a nice 30, 40-year-old guy doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
That gets me all
Fair enough.
excited.
Yeah. But
as gay as that sounded, I get it.
Yeah. But of course, you guys are missing
only
the perfect
gay
choice.
if you like it.
Hold on, Zach. I'm getting to it. Now, Elrod, it's never clear whether he's serious or not, but he says Zac Efron. Okay.
Zach has the look.
He's a bad actor.
Zach would look good. He'd look the part.
Yeah. Jimmy says Nathan Fillion. Nathan's always awesome. But two people in the chat, Dave and Zach and myself, we are correct. The rest of you are wrong. Chris Pratt, dude.
The problem with Chris Pratt, the only problem with Chris Pratt,
he's perfect.
Is not Chris Pratt. It's that he's already kind of done it.
Yeah, well,
and I don't know if he would want to do it. Is my point. He might just be like, nah, because he's kind of already doing that role in a way.
Mm-hmm.
in a way. No, you're right,
Yeah.
but he's perfect though. He is perfect. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
he's my choice. If they were going to remake Indiana
Perfect
Jones, which I
man.
don't suggest they do, but if for some reason they decide to, that's who I would want to be Indy. Is
Lady
Chris Pratt.
Celtic Moon says boo. Sorry. My pickles. Oh, I love you very much, my pickles. But Tom Hardy, sir. And I
Tom
agree,
Hardy,
Zach.
the little manlet.
Yeah, Tom
Yeah,
Hardy's a real short boy.
he's
He's
too
a small
small.
boy.
Yeah. But maybe the original Thought by Thunder is probably the better one. Find a unknown actor who's actually a good actor, like a theater actor or something like that, who can come in and do the role. I think all these offers or the ideas were good ones though. I think they all could
I
use a
have
shot.
one from the bleachers. My wife said that she likes Chris Pratt or Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah, Ryan's too much of a goof, man.
He is a goof, but he can play serious. He's
He
had a
can.
couple serious
Out
roles.
What
What
was
about who's the guy who does Rocket Raccoon?
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, no, he's a bit
He
too
would actually
pretty.
probably be good. He would actually look the part very. He has the
Yeah.
right build. He's a
so
kind of a
pretty.
he's kind of a bigger dude too.
Yeah. Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
Hey, he needs a job. Get him in there, dude. John Cena slam the future. God, Elrod. No.
John Cena.
Yeah. Although.
Only if every time he comes on the screen they play his entrance music. That's the only way I'm watching that movie.
That's right. That's right. Although someone does think that Ezra Miller should play Tweaky. I kind of agree. I do. I kind of agree. But you know who they've never maybe I'm wrong on this, but I've never seen them try out in a movie would be Randy Orton. Randy Orton is, I don't know if he'd be a good actor or not, but that is one of the most iconic type of, like when you think of a pro wrestler, Randy Orton, boom,
Yep.
there he is, right? I mean, his body is exactly right, his
A
movement
couple
speed is
weeks ago,
exactly
I
right.
said that exact thing to Booster. I said if he could act, I don't know if he can. I've never seen anything he's actually acted in besides wrestling. But if he can act, he should be a Hollywood megastar
He should
because
be.
he is built perfectly for action movies.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. He's not too tall. He's not too bulky. He's just right. Kind of like the
Yep.
porridge booster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
And he's a legacy for sure too. You know, he's been around his whole third generation, I think he is. But anyway, we're not here to talk about wrestling. I just want to talk a little bit about Buck Rogers, and we'll see because it looks like it's been finalized. Legendary has got the contract, and they're going to be working toward putting it together as quickly as they can. I'm sure, which means what, 3 years, 5 on the outset. We will be getting something in from Legendary. We don't have any information on the story or anything, but what they have said is they're going to do a multimedia approach to it. We're going not only we go get a movie, well, movies, I think they pluralized it. They were also looking at doing a TV show, and they're also thinking about doing like video game type of stuff. So all we can hope is that they go with something that is just Buck Rogers, and it's about Buck Rogers, and the fish out of water. Huh? And Wilma, we need Wilma too. But it's basically a fish out of water story, right? Is what it is. He's, the original Anthony Rogers story. They changed it to William later, which I get. Anthony doesn't sound great.
Space Captain America.
In a way, he was, but I mean, he didn't get, he wasn't in space though. He was in a cave, and it was cave in, and this kind of ancient gas put him to sleep for 500 years, kind of a Rip Van Winkle thing. I think that's where they were getting the idea from, was Rip Van Winkle. But I did love, even though it was not canon at all, when they came out with the Buck Rogers in 1979, I think it was. That they moved it to him being frozen in space. I thought that was better. I did like that a lot because I don't know how many of you guys have read the original John Carter of Mars. His thing kind of happened in a cave too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's leave that. Let John Carter have his cave and let Buck
how
have it.
about a good John Carter movie? Can we get that? That'd be great.
Well, we almost got it.
Yeah, almost.
I didn't think it was that bad. It was just
It's not bad. It's just not good enough. John Carter is foundational sci-fi.
It is.
Like it's that important. It's as foundational of sci-fi as Jules Verne. Like it's that old, and how much stuff has come out of it, and it just didn't get. It just kind of went.
It
Like, it just
did.
flopped. And
Well,
that's terrible.
it is, yeah. And I think they made two mistakes in that movie. It's very similar to the mistakes that Lucas made with the prequel. The actor playing John Carter just wasn't up to snuff. He just wasn't the right choice. Although it could have been worse. But the real bad casting was Deja Thoris. I mean,
Mm.
Jesus, are you kidding me? She sounded like she was a girl from the valley in California. What the hell? That's not Deja Thoris, one of those sexiest beasts that ever be put on a comic book, and you're gonna have that chick playing her? Really? My God, dude. Anyway, let's not get into that. We're talking about Rock Rogers. All right. William Conrad did the voiceover for season 1 intro. Did he? That's cool. Yeah, but also Gil Gerard was a bit of a pain in the ass the whole time. I don't know if you guys ever watched any of the behind the scenes stuff, but Gil Gerard was a real pain in the ass for that show, and it's sad to hear, really, but it is what it
Mhm.
is. Let's see what else here before I move on to other news. Willian Contract, yeah, I read that. Orton got a strong, he's got a strong Southern accent. I just wish they would have tried. He's getting a little bit old. He's getting that old wrestler face now, unfortunately. But I just don't know why they never tried to use Orton, because he's perfect for an action hero, dude. I don't know. Anyway, let me move back over here and get into our news of the day. All right, here we go. Booster, sir, respect my authority.
Report: Marvel's Avengers results in 48 million loss for Square Enix
Wow.
Oops.
at a time when gaming was skyrocketing in value because everybody wanted to play video games because everyone's stuck inside and miserable.
Yeah. Well, this is sad news because for several reasons.
So sad.
One of which I have friends who work for Square Enix, so it's not good for them, you know. So just personally, I hope they're all right and they're not going to lose their job or something. But the other problem was it just wasn't. It was an unfinished game. They keep doing this shit. They putting out these unfinished games, dude, because what they started you out with was just repetitive over and over and over action. Some people like the fighting, some were so about it, but it could have been a good game, I think. But they it was unfinished. They didn't have enough content. No, the content they were like, oh, we'll come out later. No, don't do that. Have it ready when you drop it. For one, and two, your lead character. The whole story is about Ms. Kamala Khan here, right? And the people who know comic books, we're like, nope, right? But the people who don't know comics are also like, who's this? Why? Right?
I want to play as Tony.
Yeah, I'm just saying it was a mistake, but that's my take on it, and it's really sad. But I blame mostly on the fact that they put out an unfinished game. But I'll let Thunder go because I know he's got something to say.
Mostly just a laugh, because this is what happens. The reason this game didn't make money, they can point to any other thing they want. The reason this game lost money is its main character. No one wanted to play her. I promise you, hundreds of thousands of people who would have bought this game saw that it was focused around Kamala Khan, at least the first half of it or whatever, and they were just like, nah, no thanks. I don't care about that character. I don't want to play that character. Plus the marketing for it was absolutely atrocious.
Yeah,
They made it look like it was a Kamala Khan game in the marketing.
because that's what they
That
wanted.
was stupid.
Yeah.
That was really stupid.
Just as a caveat, but I'll let you continue, Thunder. Just a quick caveat. As far as I understand, I haven't played the game. As far as I understand, the story actually is pretty good, and it's an endearing story. So it's not that it isn't a bad story. It isn't that it's a bad acted. It's not. But it's like we were living in an age where everyone is gun shy, right? They've made us gun shy, is what they've done. I'm sorry, Thunder. Go ahead.
Well, it's not only that, it's nobody likes this character. We know what she is, and she's a flop. And they refuse to let her go. And now they're really not going to let her go if Miss Harris is vice president, because they have the same name. It's going to keep. It's going to get even worse.
Oh my God, true.
That's
And it's
true.
going to flop even more. And just continue to flop over and over and over again, because they can't admit they're wrong.
Yeah.
That's all they have to do. Just be like, we were wrong, and move
Yeah.
on. This
Yep.
game, for all intents and purposes, from the people I know who played it, said it's fine. It's pretty fun. It's not great or anything, it's not a masterpiece, but it's fine. It's fine for what it is, and it's got a pretty decent story. It's not a terrible story at all. It's very, like you said, run of the mill story. But all of the marketing around it, all of the buzz around it, all of the energy around it was in the wrong direction. Had they marketed it the proper way, it would have made money. It's an Avengers game right after the biggest movie of all time was an Avengers movie, and they lost money on it. You really need to think there. That's impressive amounts of incompetence.
It is, and it's like, if you really, you could have introduced some of your new characters in the background, sure. But if you wanted to have a female lead in the front telling the story, okay, we'll take one we already know, Scarlet Witch, right? Why wasn't Scarlet Witch the one? She's young, she's new to the Avengers, it's perfect. But no, they did this. And like I said, I understand the story's pretty good. It's not the point. People were put off by it because it's like either we know the politics behind it or they're like, who's this? Right?
You know what else I reckon they screwed up on? I reckon it's just aesthetically a hideous game.
Yeah, it's not pretty. It doesn't look good.
It can be.
I mean, compare it to Red Dead Redemption 2. Compare it to Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Compare it to
these games. Yeah, The Last of Us 2 that look beautiful, especially in their scenery and their atmosphere and all that. This game looks like it came out 7 years ago. That's what it looks like. Yeah. It looks like it's running on old technology. Every time I've seen it, it's what it looks like.
It's got the same problems of Mortal Kombat 11 and Injustice 2, right? There's something really wrong with the faces of all these characters.
Yeah.
I don't like looking at them.
Because they're not allowed to make pretty characters anymore. Unless the men are fine, but women cannot be attractive. This is a trend going on. You see all over the place. They're not allowed to do it. I don't know what's wrong with having attractive women, but you can't, right? It's a good example. There's some really gorgeous games coming out right now. We just had Assassin's Creed Valhalla drop. That game is freaking epic looking, dude. And it's getting great reviews, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure it's... I think Odyssey was a great game. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was fantastic. Booster and I both played it for hours. We played it all the way through, beat it. It was great.
Great. I didn't get what people didn't like about it, if I'm honest. Because, I hesitated to play it because it had a lot of bad buzz around it. And I gave it a go. I was like, fuck, this is great. And it's addictive.
Yeah. And there are some comments over here in the chat. I do want to get Eric's opinion in a minute, though. Let me read the chat real quick. Zach says, I really like this game, but it gets boring if you don't have any friends to play with. Well, that's that multiplayer push again. Because some reason the industry thinks that's all everyone wants to play. But yet, people keep saying, hey, we want more single player stuff. But they keep telling us, no, you don't. You want multiplayer. And
then the best part about that is every time somebody takes a chance and puts out a single player focused game, it succeeds massively. But for some reason, these analysts still can't get their head out of their own ass and see that they're wrong.
Because they make
just last year, the Star Wars Jedi game that came out. What was it called? Jedi Knight? What was it? I don't remember what it was called now.
Fallen Order. Yeah.
Succeeded, did better than all expectations, and it was a single player only game.
That's right.
Which was it really didn't have that much replayability. Actually, it's pretty much just a one shot experience, and you're done. But it succeeded, and another great example of they have no idea what they're talking about anymore. They're listening to people who only listen to Twitter, and Twitter is tiny. There's not that many actual people on Twitter. That's the reality of the world. Only about 8% of the American populace uses Twitter, and the vast majority of Twitter's users are bots and official accounts.
Yeah, that's fair. But it has more to do with money than anything, though, Thundera. Because they can sell skins, they can sell monthly or quarterly or yearly passes or whatever it is. That's why they do the multiplayer, because they're trying to make more money on the back end.
They can do that, but they can only do that if people buy their game. So if the game looks like meh, people aren't going to buy it, no matter what it's about. They burned too many bridges 20 years ago, 15 years ago with a whole lot of crap games that come out with the right branding, right? Everybody remember, like, every movie had a branded game. Every action movie had a branded game. Some of them were pretty good, but most of them were garbage. They don't really do that anymore, at least not like they used to. If they put it out, it's obvious garbage, right? They don't try and promote it like it's a good game anymore.
Mhm.
And
I personally like
I
the
think
Office
that's
game.
one of the reasons people were a little bit excited about this, because we were hoping, since the Avengers movies, it wasn't supposedly based on any of those, we were hoping it was going to be like a Arkham Asylum game, right? Like Arkham
Yeah,
level quality,
yeah.
and it's just not. It's not
No.
what it is.
No, and you're right, because Marvel has not put out a game in a long time. They do these net marble crap on the internet mobile games, but they haven't put out a real game in a long time. We were really excited, and it's what it is. What it is.
Yep.
There is a question here. Elrodimus says they ruined the Captain American costume. The game had no movie boost. That's interesting.
Yep.
Roger asked a question which I wish you would specify or be more specific, please. He says, "Hey Chester, what do you think about Chinese having visas now? I don't understand what you mean. They've always had visas. Game is clunky. You're always in an elevator. Boosters, you're a pretty woman. Perfect.
Hmm.
Long live the show. Thank you, Jimmy. AC Odyssey was a great game. Yeah, a lot of people liked it. My pickle says I like it, but there's nothing that makes me want to play it after the main story. Fallen Order had a better storyline than the last five Star Wars movies. It's not hard to
Yeah.
do, dude. They didn't have a movie line at all. They didn't. That's the problem. They had no freaking plan, bastards. God of War and
Mhm.
Uncharted were great single player games. Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
Boy.
Yeah. No,
Anyway,
Fallen Order is what Star Wars should be. It's fantastic. If you haven't played, at least the storyline is. If you haven't played it, give it a shot. It's a little tough if you're not used to that kind of game at first, but eventually you'll get it. And it's a great storyline. It makes sense in the world that they've built. They don't try and rewrite the script or anything.
mm,
It's a good Star Wars story. Very simple Star Wars story. There's no preaching, none of that stuff. I cannot recommend that game enough.
that's cool. Yeah, I was thinking about checking it out myself. I'm actually I can't believe I'm saying this, Booster. I'm thinking about buying an Ubisoft game, dude.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what's happening with the world, but I'm thinking about it.
Which one, the Valhalla one?
Yeah, the Valhalla one, dude. It looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Well,
Eric.
I'm telling you, I was the same way, and then I played Odyssey, and I was like, I've told Booster all the time, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this game's awesome. Like I bought it as soon as I waited for it to go on sale because I'm not a sucker, but I bought it as soon as it was on sale.
Yeah, it just makes me it makes me sad to give any money to Ubisoft whatsoever.
Me too.
It
Yeah.
just
Me
does.
too.
Roger Hellis says it's about the visas. 30,000 Chinese are trying to immigrate to the UK or Australia. Well, I'm sure they'll have no trouble whatsoever. And it looks like you're trying to say 300,000 there. I'm not sure what you meant, but the UK they'll probably have no trouble doing it. Australia and China are kind of in a semi-war right now. I don't know that will go over well. I think Australia.
Another reason why we desperately don't need China Joe as our president. Just in case. Just anyway, go on.
No, that is a problem. But Australia, I think Australia is shaking in the boots heavy because they felt empowered to push back against the bullshit that China is doing to them because Trump was in the House. But now with Biden in there, I don't know what they're going to do. I think that because China is going to punish them. Keep this in mind. China will punish them. There's a real problem over here with China, and it looks like that the Asian League is going to have to be the ones to deal with them, unfortunately, because if Biden actually gets in, and there's a fair chance he might, um, the Asian League's on their own. They're just on their own. And the only thing I don't think, do you think he wouldn't take the step of actually standing behind China militarily, though? He wouldn't do that.
I don't know, man. I don't know what that senile old bastard's going to do, to be honest. I don't think he does. He's going to wait until his masters tell him what he's supposed to think, and that's what he's going to do. But
Anyway, well, we'll
China's
see,
one of
Roger.
his masters.
They definitely are $1 billion worth. But yeah, Roger, we'll have to wait and see. But the UK, I think, is a completely different conversation. But Australia is in a precarious situation right now. Zach says Valhalla looks great, and the Gotham Knight game looks fun too. Sweet. Anyway, Eric, please, sir.
Well, based on what Pickle said, there was nothing that makes him want to play it after the main story. Once it gets out, there's no replayability. You're not going to sell as many copies as you want to in the first place. But nobody knew who this character is. I mean, the people that do know don't want to play the character, and the people that don't know don't want to buy it because they're playing an unknown character. I
Yeah.
don't want to go buy a game of play someone I don't know when it's called The Avengers.
Yeah, and they had such a easy out. I mean, if they really are all
Yep.
about having the female character, just go with Scarlet Witch, man. You're going to
Or
push
go
her
with Black
anyway.
Widow.
They could have even done Captain Marvel and probably sold more.
Yeah.
Oh, probably. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I don't know. Whatever.
At least she's had a movie.
At least she's known. Yeah, she's known.
Yeah.
And you know, it also it's another thing. It's hard to sell because I understand these liberals can't understand this, but those people who look like Muslims, whether they be or not, and of course she is a Muslim, Western people aren't too keen on them right now. We're not. I mean, we had 4 years of you know, war being brought down, and peace and reconciliation was actually done in the past 4 years. So it has come
Mhm.
down. But do keep in mind, we just had a bunch of beheadings and murders throughout Europe by a certain group called the Islamists. Right? People are looking at that.
Yep.
And you go, why is there a Muslim as my lead character? I mean, I
Oh
don't know.
my
If,
god,
I'm just.
that happened ages ago. Get over it. Come
Oh
on,
yeah,
kidding
just 2 weeks ago,
Americans.
ages
You
ago.
have to get
Yeah.
you have to rowdy about it. Oh my god.
It's dumb. Anyway, let's move on. Let's do. She is good in the game. You know, that's why you're here, Jimmy. The story's great. Black Widow would have been fun too. But I understand they
Are
wanted a
you
young.
just going to skip Dillard's comments?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Next.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Bishop.
alrighty. Oh no. New
Oh,
Black
boy.
Panther 2 rumor reveals how Marvel will replace T'Challa.
Okay, I've read the article. Tell me what you think. Let's go around the board. Eric, how are they going to replace him?
Oof.
Eric?
Hear me?
Yeah, I can
There
hear
he
you.
is.
Go ahead, dude.
There
Tell us.
goes
I just believe his sister's going to take up the mantle. That's what I would expect.
Okay, but how? How are they going? We all know that's going to happen, but how?
Well, okay, there's the problem because they destroyed all the flowers that give them their powers.
Which was really stupid, by the way.
Yeah,
It
I
was,
don't know
yeah.
why they did that. There's got to be one hidden under a rock somewhere.
And that's easy enough to fix.
A
Yeah.
very convenient rock that she trips over, and there it is.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think, Thundera? How are they going to do it?
How they're going to do it is going to be really stupid. What they should do is somehow resurrect Killmonger and have him take his place, because he was a great character, and give him a redemption arc.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
that's not
good,
what's
that's
happening though. Booster.
No.
I like Amaron's comment. Get Terrence Howard to play T'Challa.
yeah.
I like that.
Ah.
I heard a rumor about holograms though, which sounds really fucking disrespectful. But yeah, I'm going to assume the sister just happened to have some on her, was just hoarding it or some shit.
Of course, she is super scientist of the planet. But no, this is what
Yeah.
they're going to do. They're going to create a CG version of T'Challa. He's going to die in a big
Oh.
battle in the beginning, and Shuri is going to take over the title. There it is.
Yeah, I really think the CG and hologram shit's disrespectful.
It is.
How's she going to get her powers?
I don't know. I have no clue.
She
It's- they'll-
saved one flower.
Of course.
She's
She's
been a secret flower addict for years. That's
yes,
what it is.
that's what it is. Yeah.
Ignoring it.
Or she snuck one when she was young, and she's been a Black Panther the whole time.
The whole
But
time.
that's what they're doing, dude.
Maybe she's born with it.
Yeah, so they don't, just screw this guy. He's just going to die in battle, and then someone who no one wanted is going to come in. Now, keep in mind, Shuri is in the comic books, and what's the name of her character? She does have like the super suit and stuff now, and she has an actual character. What's it called again?
I
Damn it,
I don't know.
can't remember. It's some kind of African animal name. But whatever.
Oh yeah,
Raph?
yeah, that cleared it up.
Thank you. Yeah.
One of those African types.
Yeah, one of the. You know what they should? Dave says put Chris Pratt in it and dinosaurs. You know what they should do? They actually should put in Chris Evans because we know he's always had a close relation with Black Panther, and he's the new Black Panther. That'd be perfect. It would piss them off to the nth degree, dude.
The
It would be-
Ginger Jaguar.
Ginger Jaguar, baby, let's do it.
Yeah, there you go, baby. But now here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. We know it's silly. and we don't care. And most of the people here, I think, are honest in the fact that Black Panther was a mediocre movie anyway. But
Mhm.
whatever, people really enjoyed it. Make as many as you can, and make them as fun as possible. I'm cool with that. But here's the thing: do you think that the community who was most in love with Wakanda, even thinking it's a real country in the African continent, is going to enjoy a female leader? Hmm?
Well, I mean, they should be used to it by now, since women are who raise all of them.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to go over really well, dude.
No,
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah,
It'll. What the last movie make, like 1.5 billion, something like that, 1.2 billion, somewhere in there.
yeah,
Just
uh,
over a little, like one in between 1 and 1.5 billion, if I remember right, which is pretty
yeah.
good. Good,
It is
lot of
good.
money.
It was
This
very
one will
popular.
probably make 70% of that, which is still good money, but it's still a significant decrease.
Yeah, no, Zach, I know Shuri was Black Panther for a time recently. Yes, I understand they did that because he was out in space. And that's fine. I don't even care that Shuri does it. It's just silly the way they're going about it. Because the easiest thing to do is just replace the actor. Just replace him. Simple enough, right?
That would be disrespectful.
More so than making a hologram of the dude and murdering him in a giant battle. Really? Okay. Uh,
No, I'm telling you, the best play, Rodimus agrees with me, is Killmonger. That's the smart play. Everybody likes him. Michael B.
yeah,
Jordan would love to do it. It would be a great honor for him to take
he's a good
Chadwick's
actor.
place, and I think everybody would be cool with it.
Yeah.
So why not? Just do it. It's a comic book movie. You can bring anybody you want back to life. Just do it.
That's true. El Rodimus says they're going to replace Chadwick with CGI Peter Cushing. Praise the Lord. Goodness.
You can just
Uh,
literally bring him back to life by having Superboy Prime punch the universe. So
that's true.
it's
That
cool,
is
baby.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring back Billy Zane.
Oh,
Yeah, Elrod. The problem is, Eric, it's like only you and I got to get that joke.
You mean the Phantom?
Yeah.
I got it.
He got it. The young one got it. But whatever. Moving on. Uh, here we go. Oh, this is wonderful news. Go ahead, Booster.
Alrighty, Spider-Man Miles Morales rewards players for side quest completion with. Oh no, Black Lives Matter mural.
If you complete side quest, you get a Black Lives mural as a trophy. Yeah.
For a half black guy.
Yeah, well, it's the DLC for the Spider-Man game, right there. That's focusing on Miles Morales, which is fine.
Yeah,
Uh, you
joking
know,
Spider-Man. I got you. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just not really. I don't need the discount Spider-Man either. But whatever, people seem to like him, so that's fine enough with me.
See, I don't think people really do. I think Miles came in, and he was the one that people wanted to like because he's boring in the comics. I've read some of his. They're boring. They're not good books, and he's not a good character. He's bland. He has very little personality. I think it's more of a case of wish fulfillment with him than it is anything else. Now, maybe not for everybody. Maybe there are people who really like him. I think the Into the Spider-Verse movie, he was way better as a character.
Oh
But
yeah, that was
the
better.
books are just, they're not good. They're so bad that they had to bring Peter Parker into Peter Parker's universe so Peter Parker could make him look better.
Yeah.
That's not what you have to do with a good character, okay? You don't need other characters to validate a good character.
Well,
A good character validates himself.
they should have never made him Spider-Man anyway. He should have been the Ghost Spider or something like that. He should have been his own
Yep.
character, and there wouldn't be any controversy whatsoever. Because getting aside from the political correctness, just looking at the fact that people love Peter Parker, that is one of the most endearing characters we have, and no one wants someone taking his place. That's in itself a problem. Just make him his own character, and he might have been fine. But this whole Black Lives Matter thing is dumb. I mean, are you not paying attention? Are you not paying attention to the absolute huge backlash against these frickin' Marxists? It's insane, dude. It's insane. You're just alienating your player base, dude. Because here's the thing.
It's pretty bad.
I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but it seems oddly enough that most video game players seem to be kind of moderate to conservative leaning. I don't know how'd that happen, but it seems
It's
true.
actually really, I can explain it
they
real
have
simple.
jobs and they can buy games.
Well, but I can explain it even easier than that. It's cognition. And I don't mean that as a dig necessarily. It's video games require you to solve puzzles quickly. Every game is a puzzle game. Every single one, no matter what
Sure.
you're playing,
Yeah.
because it's giving you things you have to figure out. That is one of the reasons why they lean right wing, because they're forced into a world where they have to, or they put themselves in a world where they have to constantly solve things. And conservative people usually look at the world like that as a big problem they have to solve.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, this isn't
And
going to go
liberals
over
look at
well.
the world like, why does this woman have big tits? That outfit is impractical for battle. Why am I fighting these people instead of being friends?
The whole time their own giant tits are jiggling. Yeah.
The greatest example, greatest explanation I've ever heard is right-wing people see the world as it is, left-wing people see the world as they want it to be.
Yeah, that's fair
And
enough. Yeah.
practicality versus whatever the other thing would be.
Oh, I'm glad that
Gayness.
Eric's a moderate then, because damn. Dave says he's Spider Obama. Yes, he is. That's exactly what
Basically,
he is.
yeah.
But the RDG RDG with blackface in it to be the Black Panther. Perfect. John says, bring back to life. I can't wait for John Witherspoon to play Black Panther. Perfect.
Boo! Too soon.
We need more Validate games. No, we don't, Pickles. Shut up.
We do.
We
Why
don't.
don't they use the new Spider-Man movie that they keep talking about having, which is basically going to be Into the Spider-Verse live action? Why don't they use that to pull in a different version of Black Panther so you can have a different actor?
Yeah, a white guy. That would be perfect.
White guy, White Panther.
Yeah, there we go.
Or
Some
Yellow
much-needed
Panther.
representation.
Oh no, we should Red Panther, dude. We should get a Native American to be the new Panther in Africa. It'd be perfect.
Red Panther?
That would be Puma from the Spider-Man
It
series.
would be. It would be Puma. Yeah.
He was Navajo.
Or I was gonna make a cougar joke, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not doing it. Moving on. Well, this one's just wonderful. This is the most beautiful news ever. Go ahead, Booster.
Oh. CBS announces new 50% Black, Indigenous, and people of color, BIPOC, diversity policy for unscripted series.
Okay. Now I'm a bit confused. So 50% black, 50% indigenous, 50% people of color, 50% white. It doesn't add up, Booster.
That's a math. Let me do the math real quick.
Yeah.
Percent. Carry the 2. Percent more of these. So we need 250% representation in this series. Correct?
That's no, but good enough.
Oh, wait a minute. But aren't black people of color and indigenous people, wouldn't they be people of color? This is confusing.
I don't know. They're adding extra groups to help out. It's just trying to help out there, Eric. But this is dumb, dude. This is dumb. Why should you have a quota? I mean, really. Now, of course, what they're trying to say is 50% people of color is what they really should just say, and 50% white. Now, but of course, that's not how they're saying it. But it doesn't make any sense. But that's what CBS is doing, and they're going to fix it. And this article goes pretty deep, actually. It's interesting. They're talking about doing stuff for all of their properties and making sure that there's plenty of representation. But they kind of go into something here that's a little bit unscripted in the fact that they start talking about their various cop shows. The police procedural, the law procedural are very popular type of TV shows, and make sure it's happening in there. But then they go from that, and then they get into actual politic. Because they're also working with the NAACP multi-year partnership to establish a production venture that develops and produces programming for the broadcast, cable, and streaming networks to help the world understand why defunding the police is necessary. Right? They just jump right off of their programming and go right into politics and talking about why it's good to defund the police. Their partners, they have partners with 21CP Policing Solutions, Charles H. Ramsey, Policing Solutions. We need them, right? They're talking about how it's better that we take money and move it to other areas in government because police have been given too much responsibility. We need to make their life easier so that they can go about doing what they're supposed to do and keeping us safe. So taking money away from the police, reducing their size is somehow going to keep us safe. But see how they jumped right off script. They're going for what they're going to do in their programming to how the police need to be dealt with and defunded. I thought that conversation was done. I guess not.
Well, I mean, it looks to have cost them pretty much every congressional race in the country, so apparently they still haven't learned their lesson.
Yeah.
I would be for defunding the police if what they meant was actually defunded, meaning that money just stops going to police, and if they came up with a better way to finance the police, because we still need the police, that included better training and a little bit higher pay per officer. There's a lot of different ways to do that. All of their solutions are just stupid.
They are.
Like, they're not even like misguided, they're dumb.
Well,
it looks like it came out of the mind of somebody who has mental handicap.
Well,
That's how stupid it is.
It's more than that, Thundera. It's dangerous.
Yeah, it'll get lots of people killed. Not just their stuff stolen, dead.
Well, look at this little paragraph here in this quote from Ramsey. We recognize that the pain and anger erupting again in the aftermath of George Floyd's death have most deeply impacted the black communities. Well, has it? Because most of the people that seem to maybe making noise about it are white. And the black people are saying, stop this. Stop burning down our towns, please. Stop it. I need my pharmacy. So it doesn't. So if you're saying that this has impacted the black community because white people are coming in and burning their shit, then you're right.
You have insurance, you Uncle Tom. Let me burn your shit down.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of ridiculous because if you've been paying attention at all, you know that this BLM thing is not a black people thing. It's not. I mean, how many damn videos have we seen of black people saying, please stop? Even people who are supposed families of the victims have said, please stop, over and over and over. The black community has been the most deeply impacted, yeah, in the wrong way. But you want to continue doing it by taking away funding. We've seen tons of people from black community, black people themselves, saying, we don't need the police to be defunded. We need them to have more money, right? It's kind of like when the Latinos in America, they keep saying, you don't like Trump, shut up. And they're like, well, actually, we don't like illegal immigrants coming in because they not only do they take our jobs, sure, but more importantly, they beat up our children and force them into gangs. Yeah? This absolute insanity. And here we have CBS, it's just 100% on board with it, making sure that not only we got to have 50% whatever they consider to be diversity, but more importantly, they're putting money and support behind Black Lives Matter and the idea that we need to defund the police. CB fucking S, dude.
Yes.
If that, I mean, I know that means nothing to you, Booster, but for an American, I mean, especially the older guys, all we had when we were kids was CBS, ABC, and NBC. That's it. That's all we had. And then maybe you could get PBS and the UHF stuff if you could get it tuned in. But that's all we had. We grew up with this shit, and so for us, that's 30% of all of our media that we had as kids. Has the of course we know NBC and ABC is no better. But it is 100% behind the idea of defunding the police. If you know what it feels like to me, you know how people have been pushing against Planned Parenthood for a long time because of Margaret Sanger and her absolute honestness that she wanted to reduce the population of black people because they're animals. This is her words, right? And these Democrats keep pushing this death and destruction of the black family. It feels the same. You're using Planned Parenthood, which are in black communities, to keep the black people down. And now you're going to use the defunding of the police to keep them down more. You're going to let thugs and warlords take over their territory. If we look what happened in the Chaz, it took how many days for a warlord to take over there? How many? Two? Maybe it was three.
Pretty quick.
Yeah. So
it was fast. It was really fast.
Well, no, it's funny. Milwaukee, where they did defund their police, well, they're already having out-of-city police, out-of-district police come in and help them with their patrols because they can't keep up. Also, if anybody thinks, even these communist idiots think that they're going to defund the police and install their Red Guard or whatever they think, you're an idiot. The reason these corporations are pushing it, so they can fund the police. So then you can't do anything against the corporations that own most of your cities.
Yeah.
You absolute morons. these these corporations aren't going anywhere. Just like you have guys like Joe Biden saying, "I'm going to get rid of the oil industry in 5 years" or whatever nonsense he said in that debate. No, you're not. that's that's the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard in my life. We start wars for the oil industry. We kill millions of people for it, and you're just going to get rid of them? Just wipe them away?
Bye-bye.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah. No. And there are a couple of comments here in the chat that are kind of interesting. Zach says, I haven't paid attention to CBS in forever. It's not likely it's going to change. But, dude, none of us watch CBS. That's not the point. Some people do. But there's more about their money and their partnership with this group that wants to defund the police. That's a problem. We don't need big corporations throwing money at defunding the police, dude. We really
Yeah.
don't.
I
That's
think
the issue.
Dillard actually makes a good point, even though he's being, himself.
What?
Where he says, "Why are we still talking about Black lives? The reign of the Black lives is over. Being born black in America basically makes you royalty. It's time for the Mexicans to start whining. Where's my free phone?" Obviously, he's being a little tongue in cheek there, but he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. And of course,
They have been
La
replaced.
Raza,
Black
baby.
people have.
La Raza.
Yeah, black people have been replaced by Hispanic people, and the only reason that they still get pandered to by any politician is because they actually vote, and Hispanics largely don't, at least per capita. If that changes, and it probably will as time goes on, get ready to be completely ignored, black folks. You think the Democrats care about you at all? No.
Yeah. And, I have a feeling it's going to backfire on them a little bit, Eric, because when you have immigrants coming in, of course, they tend to vote for Democrats because they give them free shit, right? I get that.
Yeah.
But in the
It
long
depends
run,
where they're from.
it depends on where they're from, true. But in the long run, if you have a Latino community, Hispanic community, or whatever you call it, in America, and they're in a safe environment where their families can grow and do as they do, Latinos have some of the best actual community togetherness of any racial group. The family is very important to Latinos, as it should be. So as
Yeah, the
time goes,
family's the heart of them. Yeah.
it is. But as time goes by, they're going to become more conservative. It's not going to work out the way you want. So in the 20 years, 30, 40 years from now, what immigrants are they going to find to bring in to vote for them then, I wonder. Right?
I don't know. It is, I was watching CNN election night, hopping back and forth between Fox. Early on, CNN was pretty good, and they started getting all deranged. But the one thing they said that kind of jumped out at me is in Florida, you have all these Venezuelans and you have all these Cubans that are, for some reason, they're voting Republican. But you get over in Texas, you get all these Mexicans that are voting Democrats. We don't know why that is. And I sat there and looked at my brother. I said, it's because they came from a socialist country and they know how it fails and they don't want to vote Democrat.
Yeah. No, it's got to go that way. Although I do appreciate the cheerleaders. Perfect. Moving on.
Well, yeah.
Moving on. Oh, this one's a
Moving on.
wonderful one. Yeah, go ahead, Booster.
Oh Lord! Oh, I read up on a bit of this. This one's delicious.
Mhm.
Self-described SJW Nadria Tucker reveals the CW did not renew her contract on Superman and Lois.
Okay.
I
Now,
don't know who this is.
no, you don't, but she's part of the problem. But as you see in here, she gives out a couple of things. Some personal news. Wednesday, I got word that my contract on Superman and Lois won't be extended. My service is no longer needed. My outline and draft subpar. Obviously, I disagree with that last bit. Lol. This after months of me flagging #MeToo jokes in dialogue. She then claims a number of her complaints about the show had been ignored for months. Wonder why he got fired. That she says that Me Too jokes in dialogue of me defending the Bechtel test, of me fighting to ensure the only black faces on screen aren't villains, of me pitching stories for female characters. Of course, it's called Superman and Lois, but there's one in the title of the series that went ignored. She wrote. If I sound bitter, it's because this one stings. Let's see here. I've been assured by colleagues that I was great in the room, so I know I'm not
Sure.
nuts. I debate whether to post this, but my own mental well-being demands that I do. Okay. and
Oh,
it
for
goes
Christ's
on.
sake.
But here's the thing: this person was pushing bunch of nonsense, and if you look at the room here, it's a bunch of dudes that are trying to put together a TV show and trying to be successful.
Sounds good job.
And she's just constantly bitching and arguing with them, and they're like, "All right, you're fired." Is what it comes down to.
Just
And she just goes
you,
on and
you're
on and on about how this shouldn't have happened, and how, of course, in the end, ultimately, it's the racism, Booster. It's the racism.
and little Miss. I was assured my colleague I wasn't the problem. They didn't want to say it to your face that you're a crazy bitch.
Uh-huh.
Let's be honest there.
That's right. Yeah, and then she kind of gets more into politics and stuff like such and such and such. But it's I put this up here because it's you should go read it. It's a pretty interesting article. I'm not going to go fully into it, but this is an entitled, delusional human who thinks that she's right and everybody else is wrong, and how dare they not do exactly what she says. In the end, that's what it gets down to. And it comes down to who's watching Superman and Lois anyway.
I didn't even
Is
know
it
they
even
were
out
on.
yet? I didn't even know it was
Don't
on.
know, dude. I know they tried to do this before, but whatever. But it's just she is just another example of all these people who are somehow oppressed, although they keep getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And the comment we had earlier from John talking about them being royals, that's the ironic thing, isn't it? Because for every person who comes up to say it's horrible to be a minority in America, in reality, they get treated better than anybody else. They have more opportunities. They get pulled. They get dealt with the police when it's statistically better than everybody else. It's actually less likely if you're a black person that you're gonna get shot. The problem is that over 50% of all the damn crime in the country is performed by who? Who there, Thunder? Who does that? Who does
Oh, I
that?
don't want to say it.
Uh,
Oh,
black men.
Black men. Yeah, black men. But if you look at the
I was going to
statistics,
say New Zealanders.
yeah,
Oh, I had it
yeah,
wrong.
yeah, yeah. You'd have been close though. But if you
I
look
haven't
at
heard
it,
it that
it
many
actually
times.
statistics, they are less likely to get crap from the police than everybody else in reality.
Because who wants to be the subject of news that fucking afternoon?
That's right. That is right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But go read the article if you're interested, because she just goes on a damn rant and she forgets where she started, Booster. That's the great thing. Because she
Right.
sit out kind of softly complaining about losing her job, but then she just goes full political and forgets totally that she was there to complain about her job. Oh,
He goes on a little tangent, huh?
she does.
Bless her.
Yeah, poor little thing.
This show doesn't even come out till next year.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. So
Don't
she was fired before an
don't
episode came out.
care.
That's
Don't
how insufferable
care.
he was to work with.
Yep, that's right.
Jeez.
But anyway, just look at her picture, entitled bitch.
I'll
But
take a
here,
real
our
real
last
picture.
article of the day is a pretty interesting one. If you guys have been paying attention, this has been a tough year for entertainment. A lot of people have had trouble with their jobs. Some companies are doing their best to stay alive and keep as many people employed as they can. But the entertainment industry has been absolutely hammered, right? And as it would be if you're going to
For
lock
sure.
down your country, right? And DC has had its bumps, but Marvel is getting absolutely diced. And here's the interesting thing: we know for a long time that Disney didn't care what Marvel Comics were doing. We know that. They just wanted the IP and they let them do whatever they wanted to do. The big old sugar daddy. But here's the problem: sugar daddy is in dire straits. Disney is hurting bad. They have fired how many tens of thousands so far? A lot. They've in
Lots.
essence shut down Disneyland in California because California won't let them do anything. So Disney kind of gave them an ultimatum. It's like, hey, if you don't let us open, we're just going to have to shut everything down. And they're like, no, yeah, it's the Corona. So Disney just shut it down. Tens of thousands fired. And of course, does Newsom care? No, of course he doesn't. But it's starting to trickle down. You know those trickle down economics that seemingly don't work at all, Thundero. It's starting to trickle down. And here it
Oh.
is. Go ahead, Booster.
Disney X's top Marvel employees Marvel in latest round of job cuts.
Yeah. They are starting to hack at comic books now over at Disney. This right here, I don't even care who gets fired. For me, the point is this shows you how desperate Disney is. That they're actually starting to think, penny pinch down to the comic books, which don't make any money and don't cost them much money comparatively. But they're actually starting to cut into it, Thundero.
Yeah. That's good. They deserve it. It's a shame people are losing their jobs, but let's be honest, a lot of these people probably didn't deserve those jobs to begin with.
Yeah, fair enough. But what do you think about this, Eric?
I agree with Fundero there.
Mm,
And there's so many people in positions in the comic book industry have no business being where they are.
it's true.
They get
But
rid of.
yeah, no, yeah. Let me read it real quick. The trimming of Disney's labor force continues as two of Marvel's top employees have been let go by the House of Mouse. According to reports from comic book news outlets, Bleeding Cool, Disney has parted ways with both Marvel Comics publisher John Nee and Marvel Entertainment producers Judy Stevens. In addition to Nee and Stevens, Bleeding Cool also noted that a handful of staffers at Marvel Comics have been made officially redundant at various departments and levels, though none in comic book editorial, which is really where they need to start hacking. But here's Judy. I wonder what her orientation is, a Booster. Can you guess?
Her?
The one on the left.
Oh,
The Adam's apple.
I can't
Yeah.
tell what it is, honestly.
Yeah. I don't think she might not have been born Judy. Could be Judd. Not sure.
Judy.
Yeah. Veteran of the nerd culture scene, Nee previously served as president of Wildstorm prior to its sale to DC, and subsequently senior VP of business development at DC until he departed the company in 2010 to found board game and trading card publisher Cryptozoic, which Cryptozoic is a pretty cool company, where he also was able to acquire the licensing rights to such popular series as Adventure Time, Ghostbusters, Walking Dead, and Rick and Morty. First joining Marvel in 2018, Nee's tenure as publisher saw him acquire the League of Legends, Warhammer, and Ultraman licenses, and receiving Ink Spot's award in 2019 for his contribution to nerd industry. So they just kind of going in here talking about who these two people are, but for me, the article is more interesting in the idea that we're starting to see some cuts. Now, these are not main people. For me, the big news is going to be when Sana Amana gets the axe, because we know she's really running shit, right? But they're starting to cut at the peripheral here with these. This guy's obviously an acquisition guy. The lady there was obviously some, POC. She's not. I don't know what the hell does she fit under. What do they put them in? What category is it, Eric? They're not POCs. What are they?
Oh, it was just in one of the other articles you had. What was it?
I would put them under X-Men.
X-Men. Yeah, X-Men.
That's fair enough. Quite literal and metaphoric. Good job, Booster. That was clever. You get 10 points. Write that down. Yeah. Yay. But I don't know. How deep you think this is going to go, Thundero?
Yes. That's really won't be known until we know who the president is, to be honest. And I'm being completely honest here, because if an establishment guy gets back in, Disney will start getting money. If a non-establishment guy stays there and a lot of these trade deals hold, Disney will keep losing money. Because one of the reasons Disney's losing money is because it's a little bit more difficult for them to do trade deals with China, because they get a lot of money from China. In most, probably all, in fact, of their merchandising comes from China. So the harder it is to get stuff in from China, the less money they make. Because believe it or not, Disney is actually a merchandising company. That's where most of their money comes from.
Yeah. It's too bad the damn Mexicans can't make better shit.
Well, they could. It's just for some reason our elite in this country are obsessed with sending it to Asia instead of this side of the world.
I don't know, John. Can Mexicans make things proper? They probably can.
They can make them closer to the right size, I'm sure.
Yeah. Has anybody else noticed that sizes have gone significantly down compared to what they used to be like in clothing? Like, I know I put on some weight, but I don't remember a 1X can't even fit around my thigh. What happened?
Right.
Got to save that money, dude. Yeah.
Mhm.
And besides, the sizes are now being adjusted to the Chinese body, I think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's it. Is what you just have to go 3x, dude, brother. You just have to accept it. That's life. This is actually
Keep
interesting
Chinaman.
comment here from Elrod. Comics are selling great. Superhero comics are not. Maybe Marvel should have been more diverse. But that's an interesting thing because if you remember back in the 80s, there's a bunch of companies that were doing entertainment stuff. You got TSR, of course. You got Marvel, DC, et cetera, et cetera. All kinds of companies putting out stuff. And they were very diverse in their things. If you remember today, when people think of TSR, they think of, of course, the current WotC under the control of Hasbro and D&D. But TSR put out all kind of stuff. They had space stuff. They had like post-apocalyptic stuff, Western stuff. They had all kind of diversity, and we used to see more of that in comics as well. So why aren't they trying to broaden it out? I mean, sure, keep doing superhero comics, but why not do some more war stuff or some more spy stuff or just some stuff that has nothing to do with superheroes at all? I mean, why aren't they doing that, you think?
Nobody has any original ideas over there. They just want to recycle whatever's out there.
The House of Ideas doesn't have ideas? What are you talking about?
The people in the house have no ideas.
The lights are on, but nobody's home.
All the ideas are outside the house, but they can't get in the house because they're the wrong gender
Or what have you.
or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
But Judy's
It is
fine.
very weird that
Judy's fine. She's not safe anymore.
just
She got fired.
recently,
Yeah.
just recently, I watched the movie Red from 2010 with Bruce Willis, based
Yeah,
on
it's
the
fun.
comic book,
Yeah.
and it's a good movie. It's not basically has nothing to do with the comic, but it's a good movie. But something like that, we don't even get that from anybody big anymore. Just like a little mini series of something neat, some cool story somebody had, and they made it in comic form to tell it. That doesn't really happen anymore unless it's a branded comic.
Yeah.
Like when I mean by branded, I mean like a Batman or somebody, like just something different. They do try it a little bit, but it's almost always, at least from what I've seen, woke nonsense that nobody buys.
Yeah. Well,
Nobody.
and they could expand themselves a little bit more as well. Like, for instance, I don't know if you guys remember, but I don't know how many years ago, 15 years or so, there was a Middle Eastern fella. I think he was Arabic. He came out with a comic book series. He pushed really hard to make it successful. I don't think he succeeded in the end. I think it was called the 99. Do you guys remember that?
Nope.
No, it was pretty good. And it was what my point is. Why don't you push into some other cultures? I mean, you seem to be all about the whole Muslim thing. So all right, well, give us some stories in Muslim land. Let's have it. Let's have some interesting takes. Bring in some
Sounds like a
jinns.
horrible theme park.
I'm just saying. I mean,
Muslim land. Oh no, explosive rides.
how about India? How about Asia? How about Africa? How about South America? I mean, you could go into other cultures and do some stuff, especially because they're supposed to be super, super woke, right? And why not? Why not give us some different takes on things, But they can't get
Why
away
not do
from
something crazy? Imagine like Marvel actually threw some weight behind a Wukong story, right? Retell that in
Ooh.
comic form. That'd be sweet. People would
Yeah.
buy that.
Fuck, I'd read that.
Yeah, that could be really cool. There's all
Some
kinds of
Greek
awesome
kingdom shit.
mythology out there. You could do Greek, Norse, Asian, Indian, African, South American, Central American. Why is it only that they can only look inside this little tiny American box and everything is filtered through that American box? Even when they bring in other ethnicities, they still end up just being American with a different flavor.
Yeah. They should diversify.
Actually diversify. Get some new ideas in there, new stories.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, there would be great stuff to see. And one of the things that Todd Mulrooney did that I thought was pretty nice of him, that's about the only compliment he'll ever get from me, is kind of steering me toward European comics. And the Europeans are already doing that. They have comics about all different kind of things. It's not all superhero. There's different things going on, and they're doing a good job. And that's probably why the comic book industry in Europe is booming like crazy, just like it is here in Asia. Comic books are still something people want. It's still a multi-billion-dollar industry. but yet it's failing in the center of it. America is the creation of comic books, but yet it's failing. How is that even true? If the whole world were suffering, I get it, but they're not.
Yeah,
They're booming,
no.
but
And other
we are just
forms of
flailing.
print media in America are doing okay, besides the ones that have the same systemic problems that comic books have. Even as far as I know, even books or prints of books are selling like they haven't been in a while. Like it, everything else is doing okay except comic books for the same reasons as a lot of other things aren't.
Yeah.
The reasons why magazines aren't selling like they used to is the same reason. It's because they are listening. They're listening to Twitter. That's why. Everybody's listening to Twitter, and if everybody just shut Twitter off, world would be a much better place.
It would be.
Amen.
Amen, dude. It's and you mentioned kind of offhand, but I'll elaborate a little bit more on it. If we took a look at if we take a look at the board gaming industry, right now, the board gaming industry is in an absolute golden age. They're making just ridiculous amounts of money, and the thing that's interesting about board gaming is it covers the entire swath of humanity, from the mom and dad who go to church every Sunday on the Wednesday night with their kids, all the way down to the little yuppie in his coffee shop. Everybody is playing board games right now. It's very widespread. It is not political in any way. But yet,
Mhm.
if you go look at board games, they'll have superhero games, they'll have war-based games, they'll have games set in the Mediterranean in 2,000 years ago, stuff in India. It's all over the world. It's all kind of genres. It's all kind of stuff, and they're absolutely killing it. So I love my superhero comic books, but I have no problem reading stuff that's about other cultures and different people. I've been doing it my whole life. Hasn't everybody?
Yeah.
So what are you
Yeah.
doing?
When I was a kid, my favorite thing in the world was ancient Egypt. I
Oh
couldn't
yeah.
get enough. I would read books. I knew more about archaeology than any teacher who tried to teach me about archaeology when I was a, a minor, when I was like in elementary school.
Wow.
I knew stuff they didn't know. It was an obsession with me to the point where my first thought I was going to do with my life was be an Egyptologist. I
Mm,
love ancient Egypt and ancient Egyptian history.
mm.
I was replete with that my whole life, my whole childhood. If it wasn't them, it was ancient China. For the same reasons, just because it's so old and the
Interesting.
lineage goes back so far, and it's just really interesting. And I would love for these comic people to explore some stuff in there. It'd be really cool. One of the things that caused, we were talking about Assassin's Creed earlier, the renaissance, if you will, of Assassin's Creed was when they said, let's step back and try something different. And
Yeah.
they went to Egypt in the Roman times, right before Rome conquered Egypt, and they went and told a story there, which is a pretty good story. And then they went back even further into ancient Greece and told a story there. Right? They tried something a little different, went outside the box that they had been in, which was basically the Middle Ages or the Renaissance for the last 7 games or whatever it was. Comics will not do it though. They won't.
No.
They won't really. They'll pretend that's what they're doing, and they'll tell you that's what they're doing. But then you get in there, and it's just the same thing. It's just the same thing we've all read 1,000 times before with a new veneer on it. That's all it is.
It's too,
Why not?
why not? But it's too bad, Thunder, you didn't pull that trigger. You could have been sitting here with me because I didn't know if you know this, but I do have a degree in Egyptology and Assyriology.
It's one of the few regrets I have in my life is that I
Yeah.
didn't pursue it more. But I'm kind of glad because college has been the way it is now, even when I would have went then, and I just
Well, that was back in the 80s. But if you had done it, you
yeah,
could have been sitting here in the elite seated with all these other plebs around you. Would have been good.
yeah. I still
Chester,
could. I'm
you're
only
gonna have to read my new
35.
script then.
What was that, Eric?
I'm going to have to send my new script over to you to read when I'm done with it for the Emerald Scarab.
Oh no, I've read a few scripts. I'd be happy to help you.
You know, Chester, I still could. I'm only 35. I've got
Yeah,
plenty of time.
you could.
A
You
little
could.
boy.
Yeah, I wish I could
The
write.
age of them,
I would love to write more and put comics and do that kind of stuff. I would love to do that, but I just don't have the time to do that. However, and I've said this several times in this community. I think one of the ways, I mean, all jokes aside, that I could be, most helpful is in editing, because I do have a little time that I could do with that. I can't, get behind all the PR and all the stuff that needs going to making a comic book, but I could certainly, edit shit, you know. But anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was just trying to be arrogant asshole. That's all.
Leave
You
that
don't
to
have
me.
to
I'm
try
better
to.
at it.
You don't have to try to. That's the default.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you, Booster. Uh, but Elrod makes a very good point here. Elrod, Elrod often makes good points. People should listen to him more often. But he
Mhm.
says Marvel and DC are run by fanboys and just want to see what they liked. Yeah, it is kind of fair
Yeah,
enough, dude.
he's correct, and that's a serious problem.
It
And
is.
it's one of the reasons why I was kind of hoping, with the constant shifts in the last few years of who owns them, well, last decade or so, that some new blood would get injected into their systems, and maybe somebody with some actual outside the box ideas would come in. But
Yeah.
so far,
Yeah.
that hasn't happened.
Yeah, but it hasn't, and it's unfortunate, and we'll see what the future holds, of course. But Elrod and Eric and I, we do have that experience of the '80s, and I mean, Eric, when I was saying that, you must understand what I'm saying, right? Because so many companies in the '80s, they were throwing out all kind of genre, right? It wasn't
Oh,
just one thing. There were so
Yeah,
many companies diversifying themselves. You remember?
way back in the day, in the
yeah,
the
yeah.
40s, 50s, 30s, it was all crazy. It was all what kind of story you want, we got it.
Yep,
They had everything.
horror, western, war, all
Yep.
kind of stuff. What happened to the great genre of horror comic books, dude? I mean, what happened?
I, I think horror movies. The only thing I could guess, if I had to guess, just
They
kind
were
of took the
killed by
shine off of it.
the Code, wasn't it? The authority, the Comic Codes
Yeah,
Authority.
but that's long
Yeah,
gone
yeah.
now.
Long gone now, but I don't think it never made the comeback.
Yeah.
You're
Um,
saying it needs to rise from the
Oh,
dead?
the
yes.
'80s was great for diversity. I mean, if
Yeah,
you look at
it
I mean, even
was.
TV shows, everything had
Yeah.
diversity.
You know,
And all
and
of a sudden, we never had it. And what do you mean we never had it?
yeah.
We had it
Oh,
way back then.
I remember I had redheads and blondes and brunettes and
How
yeah.
cool would it be, though? This is one of the reasons I was so excited for Red Rooster. How cool would it be to have a superhero story? If, let's say you want to stick to superheroes because you're Marvel and DC. Okay, fine. But why not set one in an ancient time? Why not? What's to stop that from being a reality? That could be an awesome little mini series you could do, like a superhero set in ancient Egypt, or a superhero set in China during the formation of China, or something
Yeah.
like that, right before the empire was formed. There's so many cool things you could do throughout history with somebody of extraordinary abilities having a role in it. Like Assassin's Creed is kind of done in games. You could do that in comic books, but they just won't. They
Yeah.
just won't try it.
Well, there's a good example of other stuff what you were mentioning in ancient times. There's a role playing series that's been around for a while. They just came out with a new Kickstarter. They had a Kickstarter some time back, and they came out with their updated new version of their role playing book, which I have. It's called Scion. I mean the SC type, not the PS type. And it's exactly that. It's talking about uh, people who have the blood of gods in them, and
Hmm.
they have extra abilities. They're stronger, faster. They have these things, and it's not superhero at all, but it is supernatural, and it's interesting. Why isn't anyone making a comic out of that? It's very popular, right?
No idea.
So
It could be pretty cool.
yeah. Let's see. People should listen to me. I'm not a brain surgeon, but I am a rocket scientist. This is true. This is true, Elrod.
Oh,
That is true. Yeah, that is true.
I'd probably listen to you if you were a rocket scientist and a brain surgeon.
Yeah, you got to have
Oh,
both.
yeah.
Unfortunately,
Aw,
it's just the
Particularly one
rules.
who has performed brain surgery on a rocket in
Oof.
flight to Mars.
Now that would
Oh.
be an expert I would actually listen to,
Yeah.
because that would
I'd,
be
listen,
impressive.
I'd just be like, I don't care. Like, I'm just listening to him. He might be talking some weird shit, but I mean, he's done crazy shit.
He
so-
might be in here telling me that the color green is actually pink and everybody's wrong, and I'll be like, I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't compete with that, Thundero.
Exactly.
All right. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. That was fun conversation today, and we stayed on topic too. We did. It was all comic books all the time, pretty much
The whole time.
the whole time.
Is that what you
Yeah.
call it?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time,
most of the time.
or 50%.
Nice.
But I am going to try to start every comic book news the way I did today. Now, from now on, I'm going to take a comic book and I'm going to talk about it, and we're going to start with comic books and our opinions on it. And we're going to do that so we make sure at least we have some actual comic book conversations because there's not a lot of comic book news. If you guys haven't noticed, it's all about the exterior stuff. It's not actually about comics anymore. Have you noticed that?
I haven't noticed that. Hey, there was one book I wanted to get a couple weeks ago, but I couldn't because it's sold out everywhere around me, and that was the new Turtles book, The Last Ronin.
Oh yeah, well they're doing some pretty cool stuff with the Turtles books actually. Also like Power Rangers. Is that what they call them? Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Is that what they are?
Yes, that's what they call Dad.
But no, those comics aren't bad at all, dude. I read a couple of them.
No, they're
pretty
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good. I've said for years that they're grossly underusing the Power Rangers by not putting them in comics and not putting them in a more serious tone, like TV show or something. I think there's so much potential in that concept, that core concept, that you could do a lot with it. And those comics prove it. You can do a lot with it.
Yeah, well, I was surprised because I read them when I was doing Brad's new comic Wednesday, I guess is what it was. But I was really surprised because I remember when the Power Rangers came out. I was a bit older, but I remember when they came out and it was dumb as hell. It was just dumb.
Yeah.
Right?
It was real cheesy. Real
Kimberly
boring.
was hot.
They're quite dumb.
It was really dumb.
The Pink Ranger was hot.
Yeah, well, she was hot, but it was dumb. The acting was horrible. It was dumb, dude. I mean, there were
She was
so
cute
many.
to look at. I only watched a few episodes just to watch that.
That's fair enough. But there were so many other type of things like that were much cooler. But for some reason, Power Rangers hit with the kids, which is cool. But those comics are actually straight up, man. You should check them out. They're pretty good. Anyway, we're going to end it here today. Rocket science with a minor degree in ninja. That's perfect. But all right. Thank you all for coming in very much. Do keep in mind that tomorrow, maybe the Pontificators, it's on hold a little bit because, Art is moving to Texas. So I'm not sure if we'll have a show or not. He is escaping, dude. He is. Yeah.
Tomorrow it's your D&D show.
Oh no, sorry, you're right. Tomorrow is D&D, and it sounds like we are going to have a D&D. I was going to do something anyway because I'm jonesing. But we are going to have our D&D show tomorrow. Bill is coming in. We're going to do our thing. Awesome. The day after that, Pontificators, I'm not sure. And then this week, I do believe we are doing Canadian Buckler in the draw along, aren't we?
I believe
Buckler?
Yeah.
The Buckler by John Dillard.
Yeah, and it looks like he funded himself, which is cool, but he needs a lot more money. Go over there and give him lots of money, because if you haven't seen that book yet, damn, dude, it's some of the best work I've ever seen from John. It's spectacular. Yeah, no, that's right. But anyway, we're gonna have a normal week. Thank you very much, and let me go around, and I'm gonna let Eric Namaste say because he feels kind of like holy manish today. I don't know what it is.
Why do you do that to me? I hate doing that. You know that.
No, but you're good at it.
Bad at it.
I mean, but practice makes perfect, sir. Yeah, Booster.
Yes.
Say goodbye to the people.
Oh, bye, people. I love you. Boost Kiwi. Just follow me if you want. So I just retweet really cute things. I don't wonder if I should just take Twitter more seriously and get into fights with people so I'll get followers. But
you should.
But I just retweeted a video of an otter doing crunches. So I would rather retweet things like that because it's freaking adorable.
It is adorable. So you give him kisses. And there you go.
You.
Now you all should feel very special. Thundaro.
God, it is.
I will see everyone on Sunday, barring some sort of cataclysm. Anybody who's a Trump supporter, it's not over yet, and I honestly think he's gonna win this. Just saying, I've been right before about these things. Something tells me, in places I don't talk about at parties, this is not gonna stand. I hope it doesn't, because I think any honest person can look at this and say there was some serious fuckery afoot.
Yeah. No, fair enough, dude. Fair enough. All right.
Quite
Well,
serious.
later, guys, and we're going to namaste ourselves out of here with Mr. Eric Hawkins.
Indeed.
Oh, well, let's see. Here we go. People say nothing is impossible. I do nothing every day. Namaste.
That wasn't
Namaste.
inspirational at all.
No,
That was-
not even a little. That was sad. It was sad.
No, that just
Yeah.
sounds like something I would use as an excuse.
Yeah. Anyway,
Namaste.
later.
Bye. Love you.